There's still remains of Greek ruins from 300 BC.
What if Alexander the Great's golden tomb held secrets that could rewrite history?
There's been several attempts over the decades to do an archaeological excavation of the entire city.
Join us as we explore this legendary burial site and other archaeological discoveries that are filled with mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Number 1. The Tomb of Alexander the Great. In a small village in northern Greece, there are ancient tombs holding treasures from Alexander the Great's family. This place, called Vagina, was once known as Aigai, the old capital of Macedon. It's where Philip II, Alexander's father, made major reforms that strengthened the military and transformed the region. He was assassinated in 336 before Christ, and his remains were cremated and placed in a royal tomb nearby. After Alexander's death, wars and invasions caused the tombs to be buried and forgotten for over 2,000 years. Then, in 1977, a Greek archaeologist named Manolis Andronikos made a huge discovery: 2 untouched tombs filled with ancient treasures. Among these were swords, shields, pottery, gold items, and the bones of a man believed to be Philip II. His remains showed signs of royal treatment, including gold melted on his bones, which suggests he wore a gold wreath or mask when cremated. There was also a mysterious woman's remains, with unique armor that hinted at a Scythian background. Like and subscribe right now, and you'll have amazing luck for the rest of the week. These tombs are now part of a museum in Vagina, filled with artifacts from Philip and Alexander's time, offering a rare glimpse into ancient Macedonian history. Number 2. Alexander's Palace in Aigai, Vagina. The Palace of Aigai in Vagina, Greece, where Alexander the Great became king of Macedonia around 2,400 years ago, is now open to visitors again. This grand palace, also known as the royal metropolis of the Macedonians, covers about 161,500 square feet. It was built mainly by Alexander's father, Philip II, in the 4th century before Common Era, and was the largest building in Greece at that time. The palace's restoration took 16 years, over $21.9 million, and help from the European Union. The work included excavating the site, documenting the findings, and conserving essential artifacts. Around 15,000 square feet of mosaics, marble floors, and ancient columns were also restored, keeping the palace's original look. Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis reopened the palace, saying it's where Alexander became king after his father's assassination in 336 before Christ, at the age of 20. Alexander then went on to conquer vast lands from Greece to Egypt, Iran, India, and beyond. His rule began in the Hellenistic period, which lasted until the rise of the Roman Empire. Though the Romans destroyed the palace in 148 before Common Era, it remains a symbol of history for all of humanity. Number 3. Royal tombs at Vagina. King Philip II. King Philip II, Alexander the Great's father, was seriously wounded in his leg by a lance in 339 before Common Era, leaving him with a limp. He was assassinated 3 years later in 336 before Common Era. In 1977 and 1978, archaeologists uncovered 2 male skeletons from tombs of Phao and II in Vagina, Greece. Tombs also had the remains of a woman and a newborn. At first, experts believed Philip II was buried in Tomb 2, but the skeleton there didn't show signs of his leg injury. However, the male skeleton in Tomb 1 had a knee condition that caused a limp, with a hole in the bone, likely from a severe wound. Using modern forensic methods, researchers determined this injury healed long before death. Based on the skeleton's age, which was around 45 years old, it's believed that Tomb Y holds King Philip II, along with his wife Cleopatra and their newborn baby. Tomb I also contains beautiful paintings, including one showing the rape of Persephone. Number 4. Mummy tomb sealed 2,500 years ago opened in Egypt. In Egypt, archaeologists recently opened a 2,500-year-old mummy coffin in front of a live audience for the first time. The coffin was one of 59 wooden sarcophagi found in burial shafts at Saqqara, an ancient burial site near Cairo. Saqqara was once the main cemetery for the ancient city of Memphis. During the event, a mummy was revealed inside the well-preserved wooden coffin, wrapped in a detailed burial cloth. The coffin belonged to an important person, likely a priest or high-ranking figure. The moment was recorded and shared widely on social media, gaining a lot of attention. These coffins had remained sealed for over 2 millennia, and some even held around 400 small funerary figurines. This discovery offers a rare glimpse into ancient Egyptian burial customs and beliefs. Number 5. Tutankhamun's Tomb, Egypt. The tomb of Tutankhamun, known as KV62, is where the young pharaoh of Egypt's 18th dynasty, around 1332–1323 before Christ, was buried in the Valley of the Kings. Unlike other grand royal tombs, Tutankhamun's tomb is smaller and less decorated, likely because it was initially meant for someone else, but quickly used after the pharaoh's unexpected death. The tomb has 4 rooms, an entrance staircase, and a corridor. It was packed tightly with treasures, including coffins, furniture, jewelry, and clothes. Although tomb robbers broke in twice shortly after his burial, most of the treasures and the pharaoh's mummy were left undisturbed. Hidden by debris over time, the tomb escaped significant looting during later periods. In 1922, Howard Carter and his team discovered the tomb, which became a global sensation due to the stunning objects found inside. Despite rumors of a curse following the death of Carter's sponsor, the tomb offers a rare glimpse into ancient Egyptian life and treasures. Today, most items are in museums, while the mummy and coffin remain in the tomb. Number 6. Qin Shi Huang's Tomb, China. The tomb of the first emperor of China was discovered by accident in 1974 when farmers were digging for a well-found terracotta warrior figure. This sparked a major archaeological dig, revealing 3 large underground chambers filled with broken pieces of these life-sized warriors. Each figure is detailed, with signs of original paint, and looks different from any previous tomb figures. The first emperor, Yingzheng, became the king of the Qin state and unified China after conquering various regions, ending the Warring States period. In 221 before Common Era, he declared himself Qin Shi Huangdi, meaning First Emperor. His reign transformed leadership in East Asia. His tomb complex is enormous, covering about 6.3 square kilometers, 3.9 square miles, and centered around a large burial mound. This complex includes the army pits, which are located 0.75 miles from the central mausoleum. Despite extensive excavations since 1974, only a tiny part of the site has been explored, with new findings still emerging each year. Number 7. Valley of the Kings, Egypt. The Valley of the Kings is an essential site in Egypt. For nearly 500 years, from the 18th to the 20th dynasty, tombs were carved into rock for pharaohs and nobles during the New Kingdom. Located on the west bank of the Nile, opposite the city of Thebes, now Luxor, it has 2 main areas: the East Valley, where most royal tombs are found, and the West Valley, also known as the Valley of the Monkeys. There are 65 known tombs, including KV5, which has over 120 chambers for the sons of Ramesses II. These tombs are decorated with scenes from Egyptian mythology and provide insights into ancient burial practices and beliefs about the afterlife. Most tombs were robbed long ago, but they still show the wealth and power of Egypt's rulers. The valley became famous after the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922 and was named a United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization World Heritage Site in 1979. It continues to attract researchers and tourists with ongoing excavations and a new visitor center. Number 8. The Tomb of Cyrus the Great, Iran. The tomb of Cyrus the Great is where Cyrus, the founder of the Achaemenid Empire, is buried. Located in Pasargad, Iran, this mausoleum is essential for its historical significance and engineering. It is believed to be the oldest base-isolated structure in the world, making it strong against earthquakes. It is also a United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization World Heritage Site. The tomb was first recognized as Cyrus's resting place in the early 1800s. Before that, it was known as the tomb of Madre Suleiman, which was linked to biblical figures. Venetian traveler Giosafat Barbaro and others noted the site, but James Justinian Morier was the first to identify it as Cyrus's tomb in 1812. Morier described the tomb as unique, resting on a square base made of large marble blocks stacked in 7 layers. It has carvings and inscriptions that show people's respect for it. Interestingly, women keep the key to the tomb, and only females are allowed inside. Local legends connect the site to various historical figures, adding to its mystique. Number 9. Royal Tombs of Ur, Iraq. The Royal Cemetery at Ur is an important archaeological site in southern Iraq, dating back to the early dynastic IA period, 2600–2500 before Common Era. This era was a peak time for Sumerian culture and featured rich tombs filled with treasures and sacrificial burials. Excavations began in 1922, led by Leonard Woolley, with help from the British Museum and the University of Pennsylvania. Many discoveries are now displayed in museums, including the Iraq Museum in Baghdad and the British Museum. During initial digs, Woolley started by creating test trenches to understand the layout of the ancient city. After a few unfruitful digs, he decided to go deeper and found clay vases, limestone bowls, bronze items, and beads. To encourage workers to find gold beads, he offered money, which led to their discovery after workers repurchased them from goldsmiths. The cemetery has over 2,000 burials, including 16 royal tombs recognized by Woolley due to their size, wealth of grave goods, and signs of mass rituals. Number 10. The Mausoleum at Halicarnassus, Turkey. The mausoleum at Halicarnassus, also known as the Tomb of Mausolus, was built between 353 and 351 before Christ in what is now Bodrum, Turkey. It was created for Mausolus, a satrap in the Achaemenid Persian Empire, and his sister wife, Artemisia II. Designed by Greek architects Satyros and Pythias, the tomb stood about 45 meters, 148 feet tall, and featured beautiful sculptures on all sides. 4 famous Greek sculptors, Leochares, Bryaxis, Scopas of Paros, and Timotheus, created intricate reliefs and sculptures for the mausoleum, totaling around 400 pieces. It was so stunning that Antipater of Sidon named it one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Unfortunately, the structure was damaged by earthquakes between the 12th and 15th centuries, making it the last of the ancient wonders to be destroyed. The term mausoleum now generally refers to any above-ground tomb. During the 4th century before Christ, Halicarnassus was the capital of Caria, and Mausolus expanded his territory, taking inspiration from the monumental tombs of nearby Lycia. Number 11. The Tomb of Ramesses II, Egypt. Ramesses II, also known as Ramesses the Great, was an Egyptian pharaoh who ruled from around 1303 before Christ to 1213 before Christ. He was the 3rd ruler of the 19th dynasty and is often considered one of the greatest pharaohs of ancient Egypt, alongside Thutmose III. He is famous for his military skills, leading at least 15 successful campaigns, except for the Battle of Kadesh, which ended in a stalemate. In Greek, he is called Ozymandias. Ramesses focused on building cities and monuments, making Pi-Ramesses in the Nile Delta his new capital. He launched military expeditions into Canaan and Phoenicia to reclaim control, and also campaigned in Nubia. He celebrated more said festivals than any other pharaoh, marking his achievements. He likely died at the age of 90 or 91 and was buried in the Valley of the Kings. His mummy was later moved to the royal cache and is now displayed at the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization in Cairo. Ramesses II was not born a prince. His family rose to power, and he became Prince Regent at around 14 years old. Number 12. Tomb of the Scythian King, Russia. Archaeologist Gino Caspari from the University of Bern confirmed the discovery of an ancient Scythian prince's tomb in southern Siberia, known as the Kurgan. This burial site is believed to be the largest and oldest of its kind in the area, dating back to the 8th century before Christ, nearly 100 years older than any previously found. Thanks to the region's permafrost, the tomb may hold valuable treasures, including gold jewelry, weapons, and even a preserved ice mummy. The Scythians were nomadic warriors from Persia, modern-day Iran, who roamed Eurasia between the 9th and 1st centuries before Christ. Caspari noticed a circular structure in images of the Uyuk River Valley and led a team to investigate further. Their findings confirm it is a kurgan, the resting place of a Scythian prince. This discovery is significant as it offers new insights into the Scythian Empire. Past excavations, led by German and Russian teams, have also uncovered treasures, including a gold necklace and horse remains, showcasing the wealth and culture of the Scythians. Number 13. Tomb of Seti I, Egypt. The Tomb of Seti I, known as KV-17, is located in Egypt's Valley of the Kings. It is one of the largest and most beautifully decorated tombs in the valley. Discovered by Italian explorer Giovanni Battista Belzoni on October 16, 1817, it has 17 chambers filled with well-preserved artwork. Originally thought to be the longest tomb, it measured about 137 meters, 450 feet, until the tomb of the sons of Ramesses II was found. The tomb has a unique design, with a winding entry that leads to several hallways, all adorned with religious images and scenes of Seti I with the sun god Ra. One area, known as Corridor K, is still being explored, but much of it is filled with debris. Inside, the ceilings are painted with gold stars on a deep blue background, a common theme in ancient Egyptian tombs. Seti I's mummy was not found in his coffin, but was later discovered in a royal cache, along with other mummies. His coffin was damaged, suggesting attempts were made over time to restore the tomb and its contents. Number 14. Tomb of Darius the Great, Iran. The Tomb of Darius the Great, located at Naqshi Rostam, is one of 4 royal tombs for Achaemenid kings near Persepolis, Iran. Darius thus ruled from 522 to 486 before Common Era, and his tomb is clearly marked with an inscription. The other tombs are believed to belong to Xerxes I, Darius II. A 5th, unfinished tomb may belong to Artaxerxes III or Darius III. Darius's tomb features a relief of him standing on a platform, receiving homage from various nations of his empire. The tomb is carved into a cliff about 10 meters above the ground and has a rectangular shape with a sloping roof. Darius ordered its construction during his reign and is also known for building impressive structures at Persepolis. Naqshi Rostam showcases the art and architecture of ancient Persia, including detailed reliefs depicting battles and royal ceremonies. Despite being looted after Alexander the Great's conquest, the site remains a significant symbol of the mighty Achaemenid Empire that thrived from 500 to 330 before Common Era. Number 15. Pyramid of the Sun Burial, Mexico. The Pyramid of the Sun is the most prominent building in Teotihuacan, Mexico, and one of the most giant pyramids in Mesoamerica. It was built around 200 Common Era and is located along the Avenue of the Dead near the Pyramid of the Moon and the Ciudadela. The Aztecs named it the Pyramid of the Sun when they visited Teotihuacan long after it was abandoned. The pyramid was built in 2 stages. The first stage made it nearly its current size, and the second stage completed it at about 225 meters, 738 feet wide, and 75 meters, 246 feet tall. It's the 3rd largest pyramid in the world, smaller only than the Great Pyramid of Giza. The pyramid was initially finished with colorful murals and lime plaster, but most of that is gone now. Archaeologists believe it may have honored a deity, but there isn't enough evidence to confirm this. In the 1970s, caves and tunnels were discovered beneath the pyramid, revealing artifacts like clay pots and figurines. In 2013, a hidden pit with pillars and a statue of the god Huehueteotl was found at the top. Number 16. Tomb of Pakal the Great, Mexico. The tomb of Pakal the Great is located in the Temple of the Inscriptions in Palenque, Mexico. Each ancient Maya city had its king or queen, and they believed these rulers needed to please the gods. To do this, rulers made sacrifices, held prayers, and organized parades. Pakal the Great, known as Kinich Janab Pakal, was a famous king of Palenque. He ruled for an impressive 68 years, from 615 to 683 Anno Domini, making him one of the longest-serving monarchs in history. During his reign, he expanded palaces and built many temples. Pakal was buried in a large stone coffin called a sarcophagus inside the enormous pyramid at Palenque, the Temple of the Inscriptions. His skeleton was found with a jade mask and bead necklaces. The lid of his coffin is a unique piece of classic Maya art, showing Pakal lying in the jaws of a serpent, symbolizing his journey to the underworld. This tomb reflects the rich culture and beliefs of the Maya civilization. Number 17. Tomb of the Red Queen, Mexico. The Tomb of the Red Queen is found in Temple Theed in the ancient Maya city of Palenque, now a national park in Chiapas, Mexico. This burial site holds the remains of a noblewoman, possibly Lady Ixtzacbu Ajar, along with 2 servants. It dates back to between 600 and 700 Anno Domini. Archaeologist Fanny Lopez Jimenez discovered the tomb in 1994 while working on the temple stairs. The tomb is named Red Queen because the noblewoman's remains and items in the coffin were covered in bright red cinnabar powder when found. Palenque was a powerful Maya city located near rivers and waterfalls known as Lacamha, meaning big water. It thrived from 200 to 600 Anno Domini, but began to decline around 800 Anno Domini, eventually being reclaimed by the jungle. Spanish explorers visited the site in the late 18th century, but didn't find the tombs. The Pyramid of the Inscriptions, the largest pyramid in Palenque, was built for the famous ruler Pakal. Temple Theed is smaller, about 12 meters high, and has an external stairway leading to its top. Number 18. El Castillo Pyramid Tomb, Mexico. El Castillo, or the Temple of Kukulkan, is a step pyramid in Chichen Itza, Yucatan. The Maya built it between the 8th and 12th centuries Anno Domini. It was dedicated to Kukulkan, a feathered serpent god similar to Quetzalcoatl. The pyramid has square terraces and stairways on all 4 sides, decorated with serpent sculptures. During the spring and autumn equinoxes, the setting sun creates a shadow that looks like a snake slithering down the steps, attracting thousands of visitors. El Castillo is famous for its design and connection to the Maya calendar. Each side has 91 steps, and including the top temple, there are 365 steps total, representing the days in a year. The temple at the top was used by priests for rituals, bringing them closer to the gods above. Archaeologists have also discovered earlier pyramids inside El Castillo, adding to its mystery. Number 19. The Etruscan Tombs of Cerveteri, Italy. The ancient necropolis of Cerveteri, a United Nations educational, scientific, and cultural organization World Heritage Site near Rome, gives us a fascinating look at the Etruscan civilization, which thrived in Italy before Rome. This archaeological site, also called Banditaccia, covers about 400 hectares and has thousands of tombs that show the Etruscans' burial customs and artistic skills from the 9th century before Christ onward. The tombs vary widely, from simple graves for poorer people to elaborate mounds for the wealthy. The grand tumulus tombs are like miniature homes, featuring rooms, carved furniture, and colorful frescoes. The famous Tomb of the Reliefs is decorated with images of animals and everyday objects, reflecting the Etruscans' belief in an afterlife. Other tombs, known as dice tombs, are square-shaped and arranged like a modern city. The art and items found in these tombs reveal much about Etruscan life, showing their beliefs, trade, and culture. Number 20. Palace of Knossos, Greece. Knossos, located in ancient Crete, was the capital of the legendary King Minos and a vital center of the Minoan civilization, the first significant culture in the Aegean. Excavations led by Sir Arthur Evans began in 1900, uncovering a grand palace and other buildings from a Bronze Age society that thrived around 1600 to 1400 before Common Era. The earliest settlers likely arrived from Anatolia in the 7th millennium before Common Era, forming an agricultural community. During the early Minoan period, they developed bronze tools, pottery, and trade with Egypt. The first palace was built around 2000 before Common Era, but an earthquake around 1720 before Common Era destroyed it. The new palace featured impressive architecture and advanced plumbing. By 1580 before Common Era, Minoan culture influenced mainland Greece, leading to the rise of the Mycenaean civilization. The Mycenaeans took control of Knossos around the 15th century before Common Era, using Linear B script. After a fire around 1400 before Common Era, Knossos declined and became a smaller town, though it remained inhabited. Number 21. The Great Palace of Constantinople, Turkey. The Great Palace of Constantinople, or Büyük Saray, was the primary residence of Byzantine emperors from Constantine the Great to Alexios I. It was the heart of the Byzantine Empire, similar to the Palatine in Rome. This vast complex included buildings and gardens covering an area of about 600 by 500 meters with views of the Sea of Marmara. Much of what we know about the palace comes from written records, as archaeological evidence is limited. The few excavated parts include a grand hall and a beautiful courtyard with mosaics depicting hunting scenes and mythological figures. The palace was built over nearly 8 centuries and resembled a city with many structures, gardens, and amenities. Constantine started the complex, linking it to the nearby Hippodrome. In the 6th century, during Justinian I's reign, the palace was expanded after damage from riots, with new structures like the Magnora featuring impressive mosaics celebrating imperial victories. Number 22. Palace of Nestor, Greece. The best preserved Mycenaean palace, known as the Palace of Nestor, is located 17 kilometers north of Pylos. This site is mentioned in Homer's Odyssey, where Nestor, a hero of the Trojan War, ruled. The palace was originally 2 stories high, with walls up to 1 meter tall. Visitors can see the layout of the palace, including the main throne room, where the king handled state affairs. The throne room features a large circular hearth and columns supporting a balcony. There's even a bathroom with a terracotta tub, where Nestor's daughter, Polycaste, is said to have bathed Telemachus. The palace was destroyed by fire around 1200 before Christ, but archaeologists found older palace remains, workshops, and a wine cellar nearby. Artifacts, including fresco fragments and Linear B tablets, are displayed in the museum in the nearby village of Korah. Number 23. Herod's Palace, Israel. Herod I the Great, who ruled Judea from 37 before Christ to 4th before Christ, built Herod's Palace in Jerusalem in the last quarter of the 1st century before Christ. This palace was the second most important building in Jerusalem, after the temple, and was located on the northwestern wall of the upper city. Although it served as Herod's primary residence, he also had other palaces at Masada, Herodium, and Caesarea Maritima. Today, little remains of the palace, except parts of the surrounding wall and towers known as the Citadel or Tower of David. The palace complex had two main wings surrounding a large garden, with 3 towers built for protection. These towers were named after people close to Herod. Over time, the area became known as the Tower of David, a name still used today. Herod's palace was built on an elevated platform and included banquet halls, baths, and rooms for many guests. Number 24. The Alhambra, Spain. The Alhambra is a stunning palace and fortress in Granada, Spain, built by Moorish kings. Its name means the red in Arabic, likely because of the reddish earth used in its walls. Construction started between 1238 and 1358, during the reign of Ibn al-Ahmar and his successors. The palace features beautiful decorations and gardens, but much was damaged after the Moors left in 1492. Charles V rebuilt parts in the Renaissance style and even destroyed some of the original structure. Over the years, earthquakes and wars caused further damage, but restoration efforts have continued into the 21st century. The Alhambra sits on a plateau with a view of Granada's old Moorish quarter. Visitors enter through the impressive Puerta de las Granadas and walk to the main entrance, the Puerta Judiciaria. Inside, the Patio de los Arrayanes features a lovely reflecting pond surrounded by myrtles and marble, highlighting the Alhambra's beauty and rich history. Number 25. The Forbidden City, China. The Forbidden City is a grand palace complex in the heart of Beijing, China. Built between 1406 and 1420 for the Ming dynasty's Yongle Emperor, it was called Forbidden because most people, even government officials, could not enter freely. This 178-acre site became a United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization World Heritage Site in 1987 due to its historical significance and stunning architecture. The complex follows traditional Chinese feng shui, with essential buildings facing south to honor the sun. Key landmarks include the Wu Gate, Hall of Supreme Harmony, and Imperial Garden. The Wu Gate is the main entrance and one of the tallest structures, while the Hall of Supreme Harmony is the largest building, home to the Emperor's throne. The inner court contains the Emperor's living quarters, and the Imperial Garden offers a relaxing escape with ponds, trees, and sculptures. The Forbidden City served as the center of Chinese power for over 500 years. It deservingly deserves to be appreciated for the hard work archaeologists and historians are doing, striving to uncover the secrets of Alexander the Great's Golden Tomb and other mysterious burial sites. Each discovery opens a window into our past, revealing stories that have been hidden for centuries. As we continue to reveal these ancient tombs, we may find shocking truths waiting to be revealed.